Dear students, in this lecture we will learn the development of the cerebellum. Cerebellum develops from the alar plates of the metencephalon, which is the rostral part of the rhombencephalon vesicle. The dorsolateral parts of the alar plates of the metencephalon, they bend medially and form a pair of rhombic lips which flank the expanded roof plate of this region. With further growth, there is a thickening of these rhombic lips, results in the formation of the paired cerebellar primordia. These are the paired cerebellar primordia, also growing like this and forming the primordia of the cerebellar hemispheres. At the end of the 8th week, the portion of these lips just caudal to the mesencephalon, they grow towards each other and get fused with one another across the midline, and that portion is also compressed cephalocaudally due to the deepening of the pontine flexure and result in the formation of a cerebellar plate. So it is the compression cephalocaudally due to the deepening of the pontine flexure which causes the formation of the cerebellar plate. At the end of the 12th week, the cerebellar plate consists of a narrow portion which is called the vermis and the two expanded portions which are called the cerebellar hemispheres. With further growth, there is a more and more expansion of the cerebellar hemispheres takes place, giving it a appearance of a mature developed. Further expansion of the cerebellar hemisphere also results in the formation of many transverse fissures, and one of the earliest transverse fissure, which is called the posterolateral fissure, causes that the separation of the flocculonodular lobe from the major cranial part of the cerebellum. This is the major cranial part, and that is the caudal flocculonodular lobe, and that is phylogenetically the oldest part of the cerebellum. Initially, the cerebellum grows only into the 4th ventricle and does not project dorsally, but soon with further growth it starts to project in a dorsal direction, results in the formation of the extraventricular part of the cerebellum. Histogenesis of the cerebellum. Up to the cerebellar plate stage, the walls of the alar plate which give rise to the cerebellum consist of the three typical layers of the neural tube, that is the inner neuroepithelial layer. Outer to that is the mental layer, containing mainly the neurons, and still outer to that is the marginal layer, which contains the white matter. The inner neuroepithelial layer, which is also acting as a germinal layer, start to produce the neuroblasts. Those neuroblasts moves outward, they reach in the mental layer, but they does not stay there, rather they reach to the periphery of the marginal layer, this one, and here they form a new layer with the name of external germinal layer, as the newly formed layer in the most periphery of the marginal layer has the capability to produce new cell. That is why it is called the external germinal layer. And that external germinal layer formation is the beginning of the formation of the cerebellar cortex, and this is contrary to the development we have seen in the medulla oblongata and pons, where the gray matter is in the deeper layers and outer is formed by the white matter. This external germinal layer give rise to basket cells, granule cells, and the stellate cell. Now the inner epithelial layer is now called the internal germinal layer, as this layer keeps the potential of producing the new and new cells. They produce new neuroblasts which move to the mental layer, again reaching to the external most layer, which is the marginal layer, and there they differentiate themselves into Purkinje cells and the Golgi type 2 cells. The cells, granule cells, which are produced by the external germinal layer, they migrate in a opposite direction. That is, they start to move deep to the Purkinje cells, and there they form the inner granular layer, or later on called the simple granular layer. Both the external and the internal germinal layer also give rise to the glioblast. Now, at the end, the cells which are formed by the inner germinal layer, they move to the mental layer. They does not go to the external most layer, and here in the mental layer, they give rise to the deep cerebellar nuclei, namely the dentate nucleus, globose nucleus, emboliform, and the fastigious nuclei. And the fibers arising from those deep cerebellar nuclei give rise to the efferent fibers of the cerebellum, and they usually pass through the superior cerebellar peduncles. At this point, we conclude the formation of the cerebellum. Thank you. Thank you, students. Inshallah, in the next lecture, we will discuss the development of the midbrain. I hope you will keep learning during this COVID-19 pandemic. अल्लाह ताला हमें हर इस बीमारी से और इस वबा से हमें और हमारे घर वालों को सबको महफूज रखे. और मेरे सारे स्टूडेंट्स को भी अल्लाह ताला इस बीमारी से महफूज रखे। आमीन।